People often worry about the cost of living topic in IELTS because it feels heavy. It feels like one of those questions where you are expected to know numbers, trends, and economic language. But that's not actually what makes it difficult. What makes it difficult is that people care about it. And when people care, they either complain or they freeze. If an examiner asks you about cost of living, you're allowed to be honest about your limits. You don't need to be a news presenter. You can say, I am not up to date with the latest figures, but this is my impression from daily life. That phrase, up to date, simply means you've checked the latest and the newest information recently. You're not up to date. This means you have not checked the latest information. It's okay to say, I'm not up to date. And this is my impression. Means this is how it feels from what you have seen, not a formal report, not an exact figure. Say it once calmly, then move on. I'm not up to date with this, but this is my impression of what it means. This is my impression. Now, when you talk about the cost of living, start simple. Talk about basics: housing, the place you live in, groceries, the things you buy, transport, the things you use, utilities like water, electricity, and the small regular costs that quietly add up. Add up is a very useful everyday phrase. Things add up. Electricity, water, transport, everything. Groceries, bits and pieces, they all add up. It means small costs combine into a bigger total, often more than you expect. So they add up and become more than you expect. So that's it. No drama, no economics. From there, the conversation almost opens itself. For example, I like coffee. The cost of coffee, drinking coffee every morning, is increasing. So that's your cost of living. In Brisbane, the cost of living feels more noticeable than it used to be. That phrase, used to be, matters. It shows how things have changed over time. It used to be like that, but it is now like this. It used to be more relaxed, but it's now stressful. This sounds natural because you are describing a shift, a move in something, a shift in daily life, and not giving a lecture, but your experience. It used to be busier here, but it's quiet today. Where have the people gone? I don't know. Back to the topic. People talk about rent and groceries a lot now. Not dramatic, just in passing. Just in passing is a great spoken phrase. It means casually, briefly, while talking about something else. Like when you talk to your friends, talking about work, and then suddenly he talks about his grocery bill, just in passing. Not the exact topic, but just in passing. Like a quick comment at work, a quick remark at dinner, without making it a long discussion. A friend of mine had their rent increase when their lease was renewed. Nothing else changed. Same job, same lifestyle, same area, but suddenly more of their income was going towards their rent, their housing. People are feeling the pinch, the pinch, feeling the pinch. That's a very natural idiom. It means you feel the pressure because things are tighter than before, more expensive than before. The cost of living is rising. I feel the pinch. You don't have to sound dramatic when you say it. Just say it quietly and naturally, calmly, and it still carries the meaning. I feel the pinch because the rent has increased and my income has stayed the same. My friends, they didn't complain endlessly. They didn't panic. They just became more careful in other areas. And here are two natural ways to say that. One is they tighten their budget. They tighten their belt. Your belt, you tighten it. Tighten their budget, tighten their belt. The tightening of your belt is an old idiom. It means you spend less and become more disciplined because money is tight. So you tightened your belt. What did that look like? Eating out less, planning spending more, thinking twice before small unnecessary purchases, drinking fewer coffees at the cafe, making more coffees at home. That's how cost of living usually show up, not as a dramatic crisis, but as a series, step by step, a series of quiet adjustments. And this contrast, the dramatic versus subtle, is very useful in IELTS speaking. Dramatic means big, obvious. Subtle means small, quiet, and not always easy to notice, but still real. Even grocery prices are a good example here because groceries change behavior quickly. When few items in your trolley costs more every week, you start switching brands. You stop buying extras. You plan your meals. Again, it's not dramatic, it's subtle, but it changes daily life. And that's a very useful way to talk about this topic in English. Instead of saying life is too expensive, you can say people are becoming more conscious of everyday choices. Conscious of everyday choices. They're becoming more aware of things, of what they do, what they buy, what they eat. Now, when everyday costs rise, there are flow on effects. Flow on effects. It means one change leads to another. Flow on. So one thing causes another thing. It's like a chain reaction, but in daily life. And the best way to explain a flow on effect is to give examples, real life examples. The rising cost of living. People cook at home more. They change brands at the supermarket from more expensive to cheaper ones. They drive less or combine trips. They delay plans rather than cancel them completely. Rather than. It's a comparison and it's very useful. I went to the shop rather than the bookstore. I went to the library rather than to the movies because of something. It means instead of. Delay rather than cancel them. Means that you don't stop the plan forever, but you just push it later. More flow on effects. Some people even change where they live, which then affects commuting time and daily routine. So the cost of living is not just a money topic, it becomes a time topic, an energy topic, even a stress topic. So this is how it plays out in real life. Plays out. Remember this word. Plays out. How something happens in reality over time, in the real world, how it plays out. This is a very natural phrase, especially when you're describing situations like this. Another idea, you can compare cities. You can do it gently. Compared to Sydney, Brisbane can still feel more manageable for many people. But the difference isn't as clear as it was once. Sydney has dealt with higher living costs for longer. In other words, the pressure may feel more built into the city. Built in means it feels part of the system. The stress is built in to everyday life. The stress is part of everyday life, part of how life works there, not a new or surprising change. Now, if the examiner asks why the cost of living has become such a common topic, two simple points is enough. First, essential costs have risen. Second, income. Income haven't always kept pace. It means wages haven't increased as quickly as expenses. So even if someone's salary increases a little, if the rent, groceries, and utilities rise faster, people still feel squeezed, or feel the pinch. Feel squeezed is also common. It means you feel pressure, pressure squeezed, because there isn't much room left in your budget, in your spending. Even an extra $30 or $40 here and there each week adds up. Here and there. Here and there means small amounts in different places, not one big cost. If the examiner asks about impact, then you can be personal. In fact, a touch of personal feeling can make your English sound more real, as long as you keep it controlled. You might say something like, I've noticed that it affects my mood a little when I'm constantly thinking about being cautious, spending less. And that's not being dramatic, that's being human, being you. Ongoing financial pressure affects more than spending. It affects stress levels, confidence, how secure people feel about the future. It can shape decisions about your work, family, and lifestyle. Some people take on extra work, extra shifts. Some delay moving out. Some pause big life plans. Again, not dramatic, just real. If the questions turn out to what people can do, you can say people adjust in small, practical ways. Small, practical ways. Budgeting more, carefully, prioritizing essentials. Prioritizing essentials, cutting back gently, cutting back gently, and being more intentional. At the same time, affordability is shaped by wider conditions like housing availability, transport access, and how quickly cities grow. That balance is exactly what examiners listen for. And if the examiner asks you about the future, don't predict confidently. Just say something calm like, I think, I think the cost of living will remain a concern in big cities, but people will continue to adapt as they always do. So if you're preparing for IELTS and worrying about this topic, remember this. You're not being tested on economics. You're being tested on how to think aloud in English, how to express yourself, to describe what you feel, what you see around you and around the world. Can you talk about something people care about without complaining? Can you describe everyday life without exaggeration? Can you sound thoughtful rather than rehearsed? If you can do that, your English will sound confident, not because it's perfect, but because it's real. And that's what Band 8 and 9 actually sounds like.